Hi, I'm Maria Thea Harris of Velo Sews on social media. Welcome back to Sober 50 podcast on Soul Organised Style. This is the top 20 countdown. So
Yes.
now that we're at 2024, going into
Mhm.
2025, there were a few things that you wanted to update us about with your sewing. So the first one was about your website, and then the other one was about your online classes. Do you want to talk us through those two?
So my website unfortunately had some ridiculous fraud, and it was two issues back to back in the same day. They both did the same thing. So I'm thinking it may have been the same person, but I was frustrated with the site holder because they didn't prevent it. They couldn't or wouldn't help. When I reached out to them, the first one they did the same thing. They just did it in a different way. They went in and they ordered 40 of these. Every single item that I had posted, they ordered 40, 50, 100, 1,000 of these. And then I got the phone call from the first
Mm.
one. And she said that, no, it's an email from both of them. She said, "Oh, I ordered this. I didn't order this. So you owe me $4,000 or whatever the amount was." And I said, "Oh, I've already reached out to the site and my bank, and I owe you nothing." And she just went away.
Mm.
Okay, you try. And then 2 days later, I got the second email. It was kind of the same language. So I thought, I need to shut this down until I can figure out another platform to use because that
Yeah.
platform was not helpful at all. Uh, so I plan to reopen on a different platform under the same name. It will still be Endless Designs by Carrie. I've already talked to them. I can use that same name.
Good.
Um, so hopefully in early to mid January, I should be up and going. So I have some ideas of what I want to put on there first.
Okay.
So I'll be
So that
back.
that's
But
good.
you can always message me for something in the meantime.
So that's on Instagram that people can message you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sadly, so two things happened with the classes because I had the online classes there
Yeah.
and it was a course of 6 classes with the bonus classes. So two things happened. One is I had to shut the website down. That's where the classes were.
Mm.
But before I got to that point of shutting the website down, that platform that we use for those classes went belly up during COVID with no notice. They just
Wow.
left. So they left and you had no access to anything. I went to their Facebook page and people were saying the same thing, asking the same questions over and over and over again. And there was just zero contact. I may do classes like that again,
Mm.
um, or or stick to the individual Zoom classes. I have done some Zoom classes, so I'll I haven't decided if I'm going to do that again because that was a lot of work. I had to
Yes.
hire the videographer and it was a lot of work. It was a lot. And we even
Yeah.
missed some deadlines getting it all done. So I'm not sure if I would go that route again. But the Zoom classes, I love teaching, so I'll always be teaching in some form or fashion. And speaking of teaching, I was also teaching for my friend Reem from embroiderygardens.com. I was
Mm.
traveling and teaching for her, but she ceased travel after COVID. So she's only done, even herself, I think she's only done like 5 in-person classes. So that took some of the teaching opportunities in a different direction. So
Mm. But now, when we were messaging each other, you told me that you've got some other exciting developments in store. So one of them being your sewing ebook.
yes, I'm writing
Yeah.
a book. I'm right. Yeah, that sounds funny to say that. I'm writing a book, ebook. And so I know one of them will be about pressure feet. I just bought a Juki TL18 semi-industrial, and pressure feet are different, and it's a straight stitch, so you don't get the same things that you would get with your electronic machine.
Right.
So I'm kind of debating on do I incorporate those in there or is that a separate ebook? I haven't decided,
Mm.
but I love playing with presser feet, so
And
I'm not afraid of them.
presser feet are one of those things that can, you can have a whole bunch in your machine when you buy it and you just don't know how to use it. And then you think, do I use it or don't I use it? And have I used it
Yes,
correctly? Yeah.
right. I see those questions all the time. They're like, "How do I do this?" We're like, "Oh, use that presser foot." I don't know which one that is.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So I have like for my my Juki F400, I have those in a small, all the pressure feed in a small, sectioned off container, and the
Mm,
labels are in there. But when I bought the Juki, I did it a little bit different. I'll show you one of them.
let's have a look.
Bought this container. My friend asked me last week, she goes, so I see you bought a container. And I said, yeah. She goes, for your machine. I said, yes. And she said, did you need that? And I said, no. And she goes, oh, you just wanted it. And I said, yeah, I just wanted it. So
Okay.
that's what we do, right? That's what us creators do. We don't need anything. We have everything. So I'm going to see
Okay.
right here. So I just put them in baggies
Oh,
and label them.
yep. The
Okay.
other way. The other
Yeah. So
way.
I just put all the feed in baggies and label them, which is good because I wouldn't have known the difference between this one. There's another one that looks just like it.
Hmm.
And so I had to get things labeled right away. And then I bought this little metal container. It's by Cobalt from Home Depot. And that's what she was talking about. Did you really need that? I said, no, I didn't need it. But it's just pretty sitting on my desk. I
Yeah.
wanted it.
Good.
So I bought it and bought some stickers and decorated it, and I'm ready to go.
Good on you.
It's a
At
happy place.
least
It's a happy herb place.
good. That's good. And then
Hmm.
the other two things that you've been dabbling in and that you're developing further is your TikTok account and your YouTube account.
Yeah, TikTok. I just kind of wandered into TikTok. I had the YouTube account for quite a while. And so I kind of wandered into TikTok because I was looking for something. And
Mm,
I don't, it's sewing related. Somebody had mentioned that they saw something on TikTok, and I didn't even know really what TikTok was. So I went in, figured it out, and found myself in what I call a group, but it's a community in the sewing community, and it's called Black Sewing Network,
yep.
started by Carmen Green. Yep. I just became part of that. And so sometimes I say, oh, I wonder if they call me part of the team. I think she would chew me out if I said, I wonder if. So if she hears this, she's probably going to call me. But yeah, so I'm definitely part of that community, and I really enjoy it. And so one of my friends at my church, and she goes, so isn't everything on TikTok fake? And I go, no, it's not. I
Oh.
said there's a lot of fake stuff there. There's a lot. But if you stick to who you're following or what activities you're following, then you don't get
Mm,
all the riffraff.
mm.
So there are some things that I watch that has nothing to do with sewing consistently. And then there's other things that I'm just like sewing. I only want to know. So even when I bought this machine, I've had this machine less than a month about it. And yes, less than a month I've had it. So it's been here about 3 weeks. And I just went on there to see what was there. But a lot of it is questions about the machine. And a little bit is about, how to thread the machine, how to do this, how to do that. I like doing how-to videos. So I've been doing a little bit of that on TikTok. But I've also become a plant mom. So I have plants posted on TikTok now. And I didn't make a separate page for it. So it's all mixed in under Endless Designs by Carrie. I may split them out later, but I don't know. I kind of enjoy sticking them in there in the middle somewhere.
You
So,
know, if it works, it
and I
works.
get, yeah, I think it does because I get kind of the same amount of views for the plants as I do for the sewing. So, so that I think it's funny, but it works. It works.
It shows the depth of your talent.
I didn't know I had a green thumb. Years ago, I used to raise plants, flowers, but they were always on my patio. But now I don't have a patio. I'm inside, and uh, the poor gardener here or landscaper here, I approached him and said, "Hey, this bush outside is blocking my light from my plants." And so I got him to cut it down. He says, "I can only cut it 12 inches." I said, "I'll take the 12 inches," and my plants just blossomed after he did that. So
Yeah.
he came back last week and did it again without me asking him. So it's kind of nice.
Nice.
I believe that bush is called burning bush because I see the leaves turning red. So I don't want it to take it away. It's pretty, but I also don't want it blocking my plant. My plants need sun, and they're doing
Yeah.
really well. So YouTube, because I'm on TikTok now, I tend to post my TikTok videos back onto YouTube.
Yep.
It's just easier for me. I don't know how to edit. And I keep saying I'm going to take a class, but I haven't taken a class. And then I keep saying I'm going to send them to my granddaughter to edit for me, but I haven't done that either.
Hmm.
So when you see my video, what you see is what I did. There's no editing there because I don't
Mhm.
know how. So, but yeah, I'll tend to take them, and if the video is really bad, I just delete it and try again. You'll see the same things on TikTok as you do on YouTube, which is
Yeah.
kind of nice. But at some point, I like to do extended videos on YouTube to say, okay, this is how I did that.
Mm.
I do a little bit of that on TikTok, but not as much as I like to. Because
Yeah.
again, I like to teach. So
And you're
yeah.
teaching a couple of different audiences because you're on those two different platforms. So that's actually really good.
hmm Because
Yeah.
I also have my Facebook sewing group.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally different audiences.
Yeah. And then
It's fun.
the other thing that you did this year, sorry, I interrupted you. I shouldn't do that, should I?
No, you're fine. We're talking.
Um,
It's just us. We're fine.
oh yeah, with everyone else watching. Great. Um, so the other highlight for this year for 2024 before we ask you about 2025 was your Frocktails experience in Chicago.
Oh, the highlight of the year. It really was the highlight of the year. Because I had a lot of stuff going on mentally, emotionally,
Mm,
and that just kind of gave me, really gave me an outlet. And so I ended up on that committee, I think by accident. I popped into TikTok Live that I didn't realize was going on.
mm,
It was Carmen's Black Sewing Network, and she and Carol were talking, and I heard her say, "Oh, Carol, you should do Chicago Frog Tales." And Carol's like, okay. And so somebody else popped in, and I don't remember who it was, but Carol said, "Oh, she's from Chicago. She can help." Okay. So I popped in just as she was saying that part, I think. Or I was about to leave when she said that part. And then she
mhm.
said, "Oh, Auntie Carrie." I'm Auntie Carrie on online. That's a
Okay.
whole different story, but I've been Auntie Carrie since 2000, maybe before. Um, so she said, "Oh, Auntie Carrie's here. Auntie Carrie lives in Chicago. Auntie Carrie, you're on the committee. Not, you can help, or would you like to help? You're on the committee." And Carmen's like, "Oh, Auntie Carrie, I didn't know you were in Chicago." And I thought, here we go. How did I get into this? Just popped in to see what you're talking about. Oh, I popped in really to see what they were making. So I ended up on this committee, and it's been a blast. It was a blast. So I think we have like 8 or 9 people. Three, six. It's 9 of us.
That's a big
Because there's
group.
a grid of 9. That's how I remember. Yeah. And we all have different talents, and we all have different resources. We all have different connections, and it just worked. I was reaching out to people that I knew in the industry and people that I had done Facebook Lives for and people that I had worked for, done some sewing work for.
Mm,
Um, and they all responded. Everybody responded. And some of them responded like immediately. It says, "Oh, I can do this, I can do this, I can give you this, I can do this." Yeah, these vendors, they just were in full force. We had
mm.
so many gifts to give away. It was just pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. So many sponsors. It was really, really, really awesome.
I
No.
mean, it was a whole weekend. Some of it was
hmm
organized by your group, and some of it was
hmm
just organic the night before. And watching it online, I
Yes.
just thought, I need to get on a plane and go there next year. Like that
You
was in my mind. It's
do.
still there. Whether it happens
Yeah,
or
you
not is
have to
another
come next
thing.
year.
Yeah.
We don't have the actual dates yet, but it will be in June.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, the activities of 2024, Carmen, I don't know if she did it on TikTok. She must have done it on TikTok and said, "Hey,
Yeah.
let's meet for this cruise." And then she organized that, and it was supposed to be a meetup, but it became this like part of Chicago Fractales. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a Chicago Fractales meetup. And it was nice because people did. They got to, I wasn't able to go, but people got to meet each other and meet other people. And then they came in as friends and they had never met before.
Yeah.
It was pretty awesome. And even for me, I got to meet so many people from TikTok that I had met on TikTok, and then people I'd met in other locations, Instagram as well. But like people were walking up behind me and saying, "Hey, Miss Carrie," or "Hey, Auntie Carrie," and I knew the voice right away. So it was really a joyous weekend. So that cruise evolved into the next day, which was the actual cocktails that
Yep.
evening. And we were literally working up until the time people got there.
Mm.
Um, we just never stopped working. Even things like the colors of the chairs don't match. The covers on the chairs don't quite match. Let's line up the ones that do match, and even that kind of thing. This is
Mm.
all the background stuff that people don't see. And working with the vendors and asking them to do this, do that, make this change, make that change. But the party was a blast.
Yeah.
Such a blast. Yeah. The outfits were amazing, just amazing. And they weren't super over the top. Some were, but they weren't super over the top. Our theme was Chicago blues. So, and we
Yeah.
left it open so you could do any era that you wanted. You didn't have to
Mm.
stick to the 60s or 50s or 80s. You just whatever you wanted. So we had quite the variety of outfits there. And Carmen surprised me because she knows I love dusters and I make dusters most of the time for myself
Yeah. Yeah.
because they're just easy to wear. You put it on over whatever and you're dressed. She made a duster. And she goes, "Oh, Auntie Carrie, look what I made." I was like, "Oh, look at you." She goes, "I made a duster." I'm like, "You did?" So she made a duster because of me. But she used a beautiful, beautiful blue and white and silver taffeta. So pretty, so
Mm.
pretty. But yeah, I was quite impressed with some of the outfits. And even mine, I took lace, very intricate, expensive lace that somebody had given me when she stopped sewing, and I'd
Mm.
never cut it. I pulled it out several times, like, what am I going to do with this? What am I going to do with this? And then it became part of my outfit. And so I sent her daughter the pictures, and I said, "Show this to your mom. Show her what I did with her lace."
Yeah.
So I was excited that I had enough of it to go on this piece that I made. But yeah, it was good. Great DJ, awesome food, wonderful music, uh, and the gifts just kept coming and coming and coming and coming.
Mm.
Every single person I believe walked out of there with something.
Mm.
So
That's good.
thanks for all the
And
sponsors.
from my perspective, I want to say thank you to Carmen specifically because at the time I just
Hmm.
started the account called Everything Froctales, and
Hmm.
her reels are fabulous. And she was really good in collaborating with the account. So my numbers went up through her work. So she's a very
Oh,
giving
nice, nice.
person. Yeah.
Yeah, and she's got the touch. It's the Carmen touch.
Oh, yes. Hmm.
Yes, it's
Much
the Carmen
appreciated.
touch.
Yeah.
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 And then the day after the event, we went to Textile Fabric Warehouse, which is
Mhm.
literally a warehouse. It's 4 floors of fabric. And if you get to the basement, I don't think anybody went to the basement, but if you have time to get to the basement, a lot of the things fabrics that are no longer processed or made anymore are there. A
Mm.
lot of those kind of off interfacings that you might need is in that basement. There's so much stuff in that basement, and a lot of
Mm.
just utility fabric is there as well. But the other floors are just jammed with beautiful, beautiful fabrics. And they open up for us an hour early.
Mm.
And the look on their customers' faces as they were walking in an hour later, and we were already lined up getting fabric cut. The looks on their faces was hilarious. They're like, "How did they get here? How are they already in line?"
Well,
But that was a fun few hours.
mm.
And we're so thankful that she was able to open the store. The manager opened the store early for us, and she had a lot of staff available to us all over the store.
That's great. That's really good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So people were
So,
getting their questions answered immediately, and elevators were readily available to get them up and down the stairs, and it was just a really, really good time.
mm.
It's
So,
also good to see what kind of fabrics people buy,
mm.
other people buy. Like because you see strangers in the store, right? You don't shop in mass with your friends.
No.
So it was interesting to see what people bought
Yeah.
and talk about how they were going to use it. And then of course we had, I don't know, I just like it. Of course we do that. We all do that.
Yeah. We do. What has Carrie got planned
So
for 2025?
so of course my website
Yep.
and selling some new items and possibly a new class. Again, I'm not sure about that, but
Yep.
definitely some individual classes, some Zoom classes, and then to get the ebook up and going.
Hmm.
'Cause I'm excited about that. That ebook will have links that will take you places. Find out more
Places.
about that later.
Yeah, good.
Places, places, places to go.
Places to learn from Carrie.
I, believe it or not, am working through my stash. I've been working through my stash since 2000, since the end of 2019 was the last actual purchase that I made, other than this trip with Chicago Fractals. So before Chicago Fractals, I hadn't bought any fabric unless it was something that I needed specifically for a client.
Yep.
And so since then, I'm looking at them, they're across the room. I've only bought 6 pieces of fabric. So I'm basically working through the stuff that's already here, and sewing that up. I think I bought a few pieces, and maybe a few more pieces that I bought just to support other sellers.
Yep.
Uh, but yeah, I'm working through my stash. I'm just going to make it work. And I got a lot of kind of same colors, like a lot of blues, like
Mm.
this. I'm making a duster to go with it. Um, and then I had some other fabrics that could match up with it. And so I'm kind of creating all these mini, um, what do you call them?
Capsules.
I can't think of. Yes, mini capsules based on what's already in the closet
Okay.
and adding to those pieces. Because I never really did a capsule, but I knew that, I can mix and match things with it,
Yeah.
but it wasn't intentional. And so now it's a
Yeah.
little bit more intentional. It'll be more intentional. Uh, and then back to this machine that I keep talking about that I just got, bag making. And that's inspired by TikTok, by the TikTok bag makers, the bag girlies, as they call them. So there's the garment girlies uh, and the bag girlies. So I'm already a garment girly, and now I want to be
Hmm.
a bag girly because I
Right.
make little pouches and tote bags, but not really extensive bags. So that's why this machine is here, and she already knows she has to pay for herself. So that will be on the website too.
Okay.
Everything that comes in here has to pay for itself. I have that little talk with them when they get here.
Oh, okay. I didn't know
Yeah,
about that.
yeah. I talk to them and tell them what they have to do. You cost $1,000, so you need to make $1,000 really fast.
Okay.
That's the that's the talk I have with them, and they usually agree because they know they don't have a choice. But yeah, so yeah, I'm definitely going to be dipping my fingers and toes into more bag making, more than just totes and pouches.
Okay.
So I'm excited about that. So I'm slowly listing. I haven't bought anything yet, but I'm listing, what kind of stuff I need. I know I have some vinyl here, but I need to get more vinyl. Um, Back to sewing with cork, which I sewed with before, made pouches only. I think I made one tote bag with cork. Um, and that was an interesting cork. It was kind of a snakeskin print, and
Mm.
it felt like the regular cork fabric. But over time, because I used it all the time because I loved it, but over time it softened and it felt more like a leather. But then something happened with the zipper. The zipper kind of faded.
Mm.
It was one of those when they first started making the nylon zippers that look like metal.
Yep.
That's from that era when they first came out, and it faded. It lost its color.
Okay.
So the bag is a loss, which I was really sad about because I loved it so much. I used it almost every day.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, so I need to get more cork, a better quality cork, because I'm surprised that happened with that. And just collect things. I need hardware. I need zippers. So I'm going to get zippers by the yard and that kind of thing.
Mm.
Stuff I don't normally use. And I do have some hardware from making pouches and tote bags, but I'm listing all the stuff that I think I need
Hmm.
and putting a line through the stuff that I don't really need.
Okay. So you've got a list. You've got a list that you're working
Yes.
on.
Yeah, I'm really not an impulsive shopper at all.
Mm.
I always list things and then I may go off the list a little bit, but not too much.
Yep. Okay. Oh,
Yeah. So yeah, I'm excited about that. So ebook, website, bag making.
wonderful.
That's me for 2025.
And I encourage people who are watching and listeners to find Carrie on Instagram, YouTube, on the new website that comes up next year, and on TikTok. Have I covered everything?
And my sewing group on Facebook.
And sewing
And
group
that's
on
the thing.
Facebook.
It's
Yes?
Endless Designs by Carrie, Crafting and Sewing Group. Yeah. And Designs is DZNS.
Yep.
Yeah.
DZN. I'll have that information in the show notes on this, on the video and on the audio. Everywhere that I put you up
Okay.
on, Carrie, I'll have it all there. So everyone can
Okay.
find you.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Track me down. You'll find me.
Yeah. So, Carrie, thank you for coming onto the podcast today. I'm very thankful that you've given me your time and that you've shared all of the things that you're working on that we can really enjoy in the coming months.
Thank you. Thank you for having me again. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. This episode of Sew Over 50 podcast on Sew Organised Style was produced by me, Maria Thea Harris, with permission of Carrie, sound by bensound.com. Many thanks for the ongoing support of this podcast Patreon contributors. Their ongoing support enables me to develop these podcasts for free, both audio and video. Make sure you direct message Sandy and the editors at the Sew Over 50 account on Instagram to contribute to their ongoing posts and challenges that the team promotes to the sewing community of over 50,000 followers. You can subscribe to Sew Organised Style podcast spelled with an S, not a Z, on all good podcast apps. Make sure you go back and listen to our free Sew Over 50 archive on Sew Organised Style podcast. We look forward to joining you in your sewing room next time. Stay safe, everyone.